I thought practice number 3 today, first day, and some shoulder pads. And what a crowd we had out there. I thought we had a bunch of high school coaches from the area. We had a bunch of recruits from the area. And just excited to see what East Carolina was about, what the Pirates are about, what Pirate Nation is about. And we're very, very fortunate to have a lot to show off here in Pirate Nation. And I tell people all the time, not only do we have a beautiful place to play football, but we also have some really good people, and that's what makes this place really special. So just want to start out with that and thank all those folks for coming.
Did you see a jump in energy from the past couple of days to the first day of pads?
Not enough. I think we got a long ways to go, and we got a lot to learn, and I don't really care who it comes from. I don't care if it's an older guy, young guy. I don't care if it's this guy that's been a starter or not been a starter. And we're going to do things the right way. And we're going to say yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. We're going to open the door for people, and we're going to play the game the right way. And we're going to play with edge, and we're going to play physicality, and we're going to play discipline. We're going to execute. We're going to play energy, and we're going to play the effort. And I don't see those things right now in practice. It's only practice 3, but we got to find a way to get that. We got to be pushing that way, and we got to be upset and pissed off about it every single day that we don't get there. We got to keep pushing there, because if we don't, if we're okay with that, then we're not getting much better. But every single day, we got to go attack this thing, and we got to go play the right game, the game the right way, and just do those things.
You mentioned the special guest being out at practice. How important is that for them to see how things are run here?
It's everything. I don't think you have an opportunity to, get your brand out there, so to speak, and get our program out there and sell our program if you don't get people here to see it. And our recruiting department, recruiting staff has done a really good job, along with our coaches, of just getting folks here to see practice and view practice and check those things out. And that's very important, and building those relationships and through those steps.
When those high schoolers are at practice, what specifically do you try to convey to them about the program?
We don't change anything we do. Going to be who we are and just be real. And practice the way we practice and coach the way we coach. Because you can't take time just to please somebody that's coming to watch you practice, whether it be the media, which we always try to make you guys happy, but or visitors or whoever it may be. And we got several visiting groups come out in the next couple of weeks, but we can't let that interfere or distract us from getting our job done. There's going to be a packed house in Dowdy-Ficklin Stadium. There'll be a packed house up the road on August 28th. We can't let that affect how we play and play the game. Yeah, we use that energy to feed off of who we are and go about our business and do what we do, just like we did in the bowl game. But we got to go practice. We got to go play. And I just didn't see that in practice today. I didn't see us executing, for one. I didn't see us playing with the physicality and the effort and the energy that we need to play with to win a football game. And we got to get there. And I know it's on day 3, but we got to make sure if we come back next Tuesday, we come back with a mission, and that's with urgency, and that's intent, and that's on purpose to make a move. And we certainly got to do that.
Coach, a lot of new faces in the wide receiver room. Is there someone in particular that stood out to you?
I think it's consistent throughout the team, not just the receiver room. And I think we got a couple guys going through the motions in there. We got a couple guys catching the football when it's thrown their way. We got a couple guys blocking down the field and doing some things, but I don't know if we're doing it at the highest level. I don't know that we're taking that next step. I think we're just complacent where we are. We got to move on. We got a chance to make that receiver room, in my opinion, the best in the conference, if we're not one of the best in the country. Those guys can be special in there, but they can't just sit back and wait, for the ball to come my way, for me to make a play here, or for it to be game time. We got to go attack it every single day in practice. And if we don't do that, then we're very average. You go from being a very average group, a very average team. If you play that way, but if you play it the right way, if you go practice the right way, you have a chance to be something special. And I think that with our football team, I think that with that group.
I saw you spending some time with the quarterbacks. I know you kind of tried to learn some of what happened on that side of the ball last year, but what's it been like this spring, actually getting to spend the amount of time?
I was a high school quarterback, so I was just over there trying to give him a few tips about, how I used to do things, to spin the ball and mostly hand the ball off. But no, it's been really good. Just kind of getting over there with Caden and Jake and all those guys and watching them throw the ball around and spin around and being around those guys, because I think that's really where the offense starts, there in the O-line. Those are probably this spring, week 1, where I spent my most of the time is with the quarterbacks and the O-line. And I think that's where the offense starts and builds around and pushes from, and just helped me kind of, dive face first in the offense and really learn it and be a part of it. And for those defensive guys, it kind of helps me keep away from them and not be seen as a defensive coach and defensive mind. Although I wander back over there every now and then.
Watching Coach Aldridge this week, that guy's got a lot of intensity and excitement and energy on the field. Is that a box you checked off when you were looking for a defensive coordinator?
Yeah, we talk about fit, and we talk about how we want to play. And I think, if you want your team, you want your players, you want your groups to play a certain way, we got to coach a certain way. And Coach Aldridge certainly does, and we got several other coaches that do. And in the meetings that way, I had a old high school coach of mine here today that probably a lot of people know, just kind of hanging out and visiting. And he said, "Hey, who's that coach in the meeting there?" And talking about Coach Freeman, just the way Coach Freeman commanded the room, the energy he coached with, and how he's doing things. And you see it in those running backs. You see it in the way Marlon Gunn plays. You see it in the way London plays. And we got to continue to kind of bring each and every group along like that.
Coach, for your early enrollees, you kind of said, I think earlier in the week, they should be getting ready for prom. When they are trying to get ready to the college level, what do you think the toughest part is for them?
You got 13 enrollees, early enrollees that came in January that could still be in high school, graduating this May. And for them, it's just learning the culture and the expectations and the standard. Do I really care? Yes, I do care about them learning the scheme and understanding the scheme and all those things, but it's really understanding how we do things and how we do anything, how we do everything. And, today, I'm a little disappointed that our whole football team isn't there yet, not just an early enrollee, but our whole football team. And that's where our leadership and our seniors got to take over. And Marlon and Carson and Caton and Raheem and JD and those guys got to step up and take it to the next level. And Jamarlin Riddle and Demarius Hines, those guys got to realize you're not freshmen anymore. We're counting on you. You've been starters. You played this game. You played between the lines. You played in the bowl game. You played meaningful football. And now you got to take your game to the next level. You can't hang your head and when things don't go right, you miss a tackle. Get up. You got to next play. And the next play's got to be ours. It's got to be that mindset. So, it's different at every level. But for those guys, just understand our culture, and our older guys got to set that standard, set that expectation, so those younger guys know exactly where to fall in line at.
Coach, I believe there's a new special teams coordinator here, Ryan Smith. Just how was he led here, and how's he gotten acclimated here in Greenville?
Ryan Smith is a graduate of East Carolina. He's a Pirate through and through. He went to school here. He was GA here, analyst here before, and then spent some time away as an analyst in Minnesota, and got an opportunity to bring him back. And just does a really good job with his energy and doing some things there, running the meeting room, teaching, coaching, and getting guys to buy into special teams and making it not just about offense or defense, but about team and about special teams. I think he's doing a really good job with that. We obviously had a kicking period there in the beginning of practice, a field goal period that we got to clean up. We had too many footballs on the turf there, and we got to clean that up. But overall, Ryan's doing a really good job. Happy he's here and happy he's back in Pirate Nation.
How much of those things you're frustrated by are common in week one of spring ball, where it's guys will kind of get back into it?
I think the thing about it, Coach, is you expect every time you go out, everything to be perfect and everything to be to a standard, everything to be to your expectation. And every day you got an opponent, and if you're either getting after that opponent's getting after you. And that's my expectation. That's my standard. It's always going to be. It's week one. You can easily sit there and say that. You say it's our first day in pads. It's our first day trying to tackle. Hey, it'll be okay. But that's not how we're going to coach this thing. We're going to hold them to a higher standard. That way we get them to the point they need to be and keep on pushing past. So we can go have a great season. So we can go have a great spring. It's hard to have you got to start stacking days. And we got to have a good day first before we can stack a second day. So we got to look forward to doing that next week and make a move. It was good to kind of get the first week out of the way and get a couple helmet practices out of the way, put some shoulder pads, and get that out of the way week one. Get back into playing football, get back on the grass and between the lines. But week two, we need to make a huge improvement next week, and that's no question about that one.
There's a lot going on the field, especially when different position groups are doing their own thing. Do you kind of schedule out where you want to go and kind of walking around the field? And all that?
I'm taking a lot of pride in right now how we do schedule things and how we do map it out and the organization piece of it. And we want to make sure everybody's getting work to make each other better. Like today we had a perimeter drill going on while we got pods on. Well, after that, we're going to transition to a team run period. Well, what's the least transition that the O-line, D-line don't have to run 100 yards just to get to the next drill? We can flip it around, be right there together, and get max work in without a lot of transition time. Most of you know this. I started out as a physical education teacher back a long time ago, longer than I care to admit. And one of the things we did a study on for grad class one time was about activity time versus teach time versus basically downtime and transition time. And all you're trying to do is maximize the activity time and maximize the reps. And because you don't learn by standing and watching and transitioning, and there is some teach required, but like over 80%, if you have a 10-minute block, 8 minutes of it should be actively involved doing the drill, doing the skill, so to speak. Maybe a minute and a half of teach and about 30 seconds of transition or getting to where you need to go. So that's kind of my what I'm taking a little pride in right now is just organizing practice and make sure we get the best out of it and make sure we're scheduling out to give us a chance to go maximize it, get better at practice, so we can take that part and take it to the full team sections.
Anything else for Coach?